Welcome back to the GOAT Marketing Show. This week we have our very own Ben Mallory here from the Giant Goat marketing team. He is our digital project manager. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to finally make my debut on the podcast. I've been following along.
It's great to have you. So, why don't we start by having you tell us a bit about yourself and what's your role with Giant Goat and how long have you been with us?
For sure. I joined Giant Goat right at the end of last year, kind of the week before Christmas, in the digital project management role. My work and education experience is mostly in marketing, primarily in project management. Before coming to Giant Goat, I'd actually made a switch. I was working in architecture and engineering as a project coordinator, which I found fascinating and new and exciting. But when the opportunity came up to come back into the digital space and with a company like Giant Coat, I was super thrilled to come back and make that switch.
Well, we're thrilled to have you with us. So, that's awesome. That's a really cool journey. And if this is your first experience working with an agency, how would you describe what the agency life has been like so far?
For sure. It actually isn't. I've done a couple of co-op terms with an agency, but Giant Goat is definitely a much different agency than what I've experienced in the past. I think an agency as a whole, how I would describe my experience is it's ever changing. You're not joining something where processes are set in place and tried and true necessarily. You're also getting to be involved in the creation of new processes, and that's really exciting, especially as a young employee entering the workforce and trying to figure out what you like to do. Being able to do that in an agency is really fun, especially a young agency where the kind of the mentality is this win together, help each other sort of experience. That's been really awesome coming to Giant Goat and being able to tap on the shoulders of tons of brilliant people with an array of experience is really helpful to my development, and I'm sure to the development of new employees throughout the company.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's been a really unique experience so far, even if you've already worked at agencies before. So, thank
For
you for
sure.
sharing that. As our digital project manager, what drew you into a project management role?
For sure. Coming out of my co-op experiences, what I really learned that I liked was being involved in anything that involved problem solving. Um, it's the planning and strategy and failure that really excites me because projects are very different in a lot of ways. You still have to try and stay on budget and on time, but you're dealing with such a wide variety of clients that the problem solving is involved in basically everything you do. And usually on a project, you're seeing something new for the first time. So that sort of excitement and not necessarily cookie cutter job was totally what drew me in.
That's awesome. So, like, kind of like the variability of it and how different every project can be and the unique opportunities each one presents is kind of what draws you in. Very cool.
Absolutely, yeah. That high level planning and strategy and being able to use the resources of our organization to deliver something for a client is super exciting work to me, and I'm definitely enjoying it.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're in the right place for sure.
Yeah,
um, and beyond budget, time, and scope, what makes a project successful to you?
I think budget, time, and scope. A lot of project managers would say that is exactly what makes a project successful. I think that's the kind of the baseline measure for success as a project manager. But being in an agency and a competitive agency where we're trying to deliver beyond that, I think what makes a project successful is when you can find win-win opportunities during the duration of a project. So after you've given them a scope of work while you're working on it, being able to continually add value and deliver things to clients that they maybe didn't foresee when they first signed on. I think that is absolutely a win-win and absolutely a measurement of success of a project.
Totally. And it kind of takes it beyond what the expectations of the client is as well. So,
Absolutely going above and beyond.
and that's what we're about here. So, and so what's a common challenge that you've experienced with projects?
I think sometimes coming out of meetings, especially in something more technical in the digital marketing world, it can be kind of hard to rationalize the items that you talked about and come up with actionable next steps. People can be talking about things that you may not understand, and you may not know exactly who's supposed to be doing what right after a meeting with a client, for example. So it's important to, after something like that, rally with your team and make sure that everybody is on the exact same page moving forward. And so you don't end up assuming something and then something doesn't get delivered, and you're ending up having to apologize.
Right. And I've personally found that very helpful in our processes, like the small scrims that we have. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Okay. The small scrims that we have that really help align us as a team to make sure we're delivering exactly what we've promised and over delivering in the end. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
no problem.
What would you say is a common misconception about project management?
I think so my dad was a project or is a project manager. And I always thought that a project management role was an administrative role, that, you were kind of just sending emails or making spreadsheets and schedules. But working in it, especially the difference between a coordinator role and a project management role, you're involved in a lot of the higher level planning and execution on these projects as well. And so you're kind of the only person in the company that touches every facet of a project, from planning to finance to scheduling to actually delivering it to a client and communicating to the client. So that is I found that fascinating, and I found that to be something that, I kind of didn't expect when I started in project coordination and moving into project management. And especially as a marketer, when you think of project management, you might think, oh, that's going to take me out of doing the actual marketing. But in truth, especially as someone young entering the workforce, you're able to see so much of it that by the time you've gained all those skills and you want to, branch off into another field of marketing, you've seen so much, and you'll feel a lot more prepared.
Very true. And yeah, you get a chance to see the project along every step of the way. So you could really dig deeper into one aspect of the project or marketing if you wanted. And it's got to be very satisfying to see it start from an idea to fruition. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially changing from a coordinator role to a project management role, where a coordinator, you're kind of, um, you're given tasks and told what to do. But as a project manager, I found it a few times, especially in early meetings here, I've asked our team a question and the response has been, well, actually, we're the ones who should be asking you that question, and you should have that answer. So, having more responsibility and that sort of stuff is definitely something new and really exciting.
that's awesome. Is there anything that you didn't expect that's come along with your career as a PM? And if you're willing to share that.
For sure. I think something I didn't expect, say, in university moving into the workforce, was how beneficial proactive truth and transparency is in project management. Making sure that if you make a mistake, you're the first person to let everyone know that you made the mistake is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for your career, because people generally don't care about the mistake. They care more about how it's handled and whether or not you're learning from it and growing from it. Something I learned from one of my early co-ops was the mantra of fail, learn, innovate. Where if you make a mistake, it's okay as long as you're taking time to learn from it and try and innovate on it so it doesn't happen again. So I didn't expect that to be something that was widely accepted and widely beneficial in a career, but it has been something that I found has been probably the singular most beneficial thing, especially as a young professional.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that aspect of, yeah, you try, you fail, and you learn. Like that's the most important part, because if you're not learning, then it can't get better.
Exactly.
And
And you're going to fail. That's what,
it's
in
inevitable.
interview tip, I always tell people in interviews is that, I'm going to make mistakes, I'm going to fail, but I will do my best not to make the same mistake twice. And if that's kind of the mantra you bring into project management or anything, I think you'll find that you'll find success.
That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. um, and I guess to end on a positive note, what's I guess you kind of did just share one, but if you have anything else in your back pocket, what is one common trick or tip about project management that maybe you use or apply, or that you would recommend?
Yeah. I think this stems from some of the common challenges as well. A tip that I've tried to implement recently is before any meeting with a client, know exactly what step that project is on. Because there can be times where a client is asking you questions, and if you're on the spot not able to answer, that can be embarrassing, and it can make you look bad. So if you're just at the very least aware of exactly what step the project is on and who on your team is doing what, you should be able to communicate effectively a status update to a client at any point.
Which is very crucial in a in a agency environment, working with clients, juggling so many projects. So yeah, being prepared and showing up, knowing who is able to talk to what and where what project is at is crucial. I can see that.
Absolutely, you nailed it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and we are so lucky to have you a part of the Giant Goat team, and we really appreciate you sharing all this insight.
Well, thank you so much. I feel very lucky to be a part of the Giant Coat team. I'm looking forward to everything that comes for us.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining today, and we'll see you next week.
So
Awesome.
take care.
Bye.